Hello everyone, welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we will try to go through some of the important features of Solidity language. So to start with, let us write down the main points of Solidity programming language. The first and the most important thing about Solidity programming is that it is an object-oriented programming language. Some of the most popular programming languages like Java, Python, JavaScript are all examples of object-oriented programming language. Now, object-oriented programming language is different from something called a procedural programming language, where the code is written down into a set of instructions and there is very little scope of code reusability. In case of object-oriented programming languages, Java, Python, JavaScript, and Solidity, the programs focus more on trying to model the different aspects of the code with a particular real world entity. A typical object-oriented programming language is divided into multiple smaller chunks of code called as the objects, and every object has its own set of properties and behavior. Now, different objects can interact with each other to provide some complex operation as well as some complex behavior. And since this object-oriented programming uses a lot of advanced concepts, we have an amazing level of code reusability. So Solidity is an example of object-oriented programming language. Apart from that, what else are the features of Solidity? Let us try to understand that. Solidity is a high-level programming language. Now, high-level programming represents a kind of language structure which is very close to plain English. So there are a lot of different keywords or reserved words in Solidity which can resemble simple actions like if, else, do, and so on. So we'll be trying to understand a lot of these features using code examples in the upcoming lectures. But definitely writing the code in Solidity is a lot easier to understand for someone who has just started his first programming language. So Solidity, for that reason, can also be your first programming language if you have not yet started with any other programming language, just because it is so easy to write and test code inside Solidity. Apart from that, Solidity is a statically typed programming language. Now, what is statically typed programming language? Let's take the example of something like a dynamic programming language first of all. So languages like Python and JavaScript have a particular way of declaring variables. To declare a variable in Python, all you have to do is give the name of the variable equal to some value. So a equal to 10. You don't need to specify which type of value will a hold, whether it will be holding an integer type value, a textual or string type of value, a true or false kind of value, or boolean value, or whatever. All you have to do is just give the name of the variable followed by the value. But in case of statically typed languages like Java and Solidity, during the declaration of variable, you need to give what is the data type of the variable, or you need to specify how the variable will behave. So to declare the same variable a with the value 10 in Solidity, you need to give the data type, that is integer a equals 10. So since Solidity is a statically typed programming language, you have a lot higher control in modifying the data, and beforehand you know how a particular data point or variable will behave. If you are having a structure like this where you don't specify data type, you as a programmer might get confused what kind of values a variable is storing. But in case of statically typed programming language, you know beforehand how a variable will behave throughout the complete coding journey. Apart from these properties, Solidity is also a curly bracket language. That means all the important components and modules inside Solidity are enclosed within a set of curly brackets. And apart from that, to terminate individual lines of statements, Solidity uses the semicolons. So for example, in Python, you can just declare a equal to 10. In case of Solidity, you'll have to do int a equals 10 followed by a semicolon, which will indicate that this is one particular statement. So these are some of the important features of Solidity which help us in understanding what kind of applications we can build in Solidity and what will be the kind of syntax and behavior of the code inside Solidity.